Well, hello everyone, Dylan here. Happy Throwback Thursday, and here I am with my first LEGO Elves review for Throwback Thursday, and this one's on Aira's Creative Workshop and Farran and the Crystal Hollow from 2015. So on the front of the manuals have the LEGO Elves logos and that border that was used on like all the sets at this time, and set number and the picture of the set that comes within, and lego.com/elves there. And there's all the pieces that come with the set and advertisement for the mapping app that there was, which not sure if it's even active anymore, but whatever. And then advertisement for first wave of sets from this time, like these two of which are upcoming Throwback Thursdays, so subscribe and look forward to that. And advertisement of, and also all the realistic pictures of all the Elves group there, and this quite large and quite nice poster-like advertisement of, well, some parts of Elvendale with the sets in it and the Elves group again, and the piece and the final building steps. And then large map of Elvendale there. And that is it with the manuals. So first of which, for the only mini doll included with the Aira's Creative Workshop is, of course, Aira the Wind Elf, of course. So, and obviously like all the mini dolls in the Elves theme, which have quite nice front torso printing. There's quite a lot of good printing there, and then also some nice detailing for the lower skirt part, and then also have kind of flip-flop-ish kind of printing to that. Very nice. And also the face printing, quite nice for how it is. It's like, obviously, with the lavender eyes and the above markings around it, and also this other side arm print to it, very nice. And of course, holding a trans purple stud, flat stud there, obviously to represent the element of air that she wields. And whereas for the hairpiece, which is in this lavender color with kind of dual molded with white in it, and also with these hair pieces are oftentimes soft yellow and have little elf ears in them. And of course, these workable on minifigs as well, but yeah. And then also nothing from the back side of which, but otherwise quite nice for how it is. And next to which is Farran from Farran and the Crystal Hollow that there is, and of course otherwise the Earth Elf of the bunch. And of course with quite nice front torso printing and face printing as well, and also some nice foot printing with a couple of knots kind of printed there, and also holding a sack that he is, which is for some of the things in this set, and of course a green flat stud representing his earth element then. And face printing also quite nice with the little marking there, and of course interesting hair piece, which is also with the elf ears kind of molded in, and also an extra earth symbol on for a side arm printing, quite nice. And then not much from the back, but there. Also, this version did come in a couple other sets shortly after this one, but other than this one, and that's about it with the mini dolls. And now on to the builds. So here, which is all the build segments for Aira's Creative Workshop. Like first of which is this little stairway that's just a brick and plate, and also a few tiles leading on to it. And also have this one, but also present in both sets, is this printed tile piece that has kind of a key on it, and also a little map of Elvendale, since storyline of which is that the elves travel across the land to find all these keys, of course. And then also have this little workstation type of bench for that, with another layout map of Elvendale, and also these trans purple bricks on there, and also another printed tile that has a ruler and a clip for a pair of scissors, and a couple of jars, probably for something, and it's a little assembly which you may think is actual drawer pieces, but actually is just a bracket and resting on a couple of tiles, and which another jar bit in there. Yeah. So a little mediocre for how it is, and also the main workshop itself, as you can see, which quite nicely built for how it is. This is also standing on a lavender plate, and also does have a little letter-like piece on a whole tile there, and also a couple of tiny panels also to be like sort of a feeding area for the bird, and also a little standing for this little bird piece, which oftentimes seen in Friends sets, but otherwise with some kind of interesting prints on it, since more fitting to that of Elves. And also notice this little plate with a cheese slope on there is, if you push that, a little cookie kind of slides right forward, and of course right for feeding. Then on top are a couple twig pieces holding these a couple of darkish pink kind of plates there, and also purple curved slopes on top for that, so obviously making a more finished look to it. And backside of which quite vacant for how that is, but also good to have these large archway pieces in tan for that. But yeah. And then lastly is this little backpack type of build for that, which one of Aira's main inventions, of course, which she invented. And I see a little simple for how it is, and like a couple of bar kind of plate on there, and also a bracket holding everything else on it, like a couple more of those plates holding the night plumes around, probably to be like tail feathers of some kind, and also a T-bar, probably to be like a wind-up key for it, and then also a couple of clips holding these wing pieces, which were first introduced in the Chima sets a couple years prior to this, and also now in gold. Nice to see there, and also nice to have these outside of Chima, and also you can attach Aira onto it. Oh, quite simple like that. And in terms of standing, I think it stands quite well with that, even though it kind of leans back and is quite top heavy to her. But otherwise can make it look like she flying with it. And yeah. And that is about it with Aira's creative workshop. And now on to the build of the Crystal Hollow. So now on to the first build for Crystal Hollows is which is just this extra side build, which is all resting on a green wedge plate, large one, and then pretty much just jagged slopes stacked on other jagged slopes, to obviously to make it kind of a rocky look to it, and a couple flower pieces in darkish pink, and then also so this twig piece and this leaf bush piece, but in lavender. So I think this might have been the first time it might have been in lavender. Maybe it was previously, I'm not sure. And of course a gem piece in the trans pink coloring. Nice to see that. And also underneath, just vacant and hollow. And of course can use that to store the sack that's included in this set. Fits in very well for that. And then also on top, a jumper that holding this squirrel piece, which was also reused from Friends, but just now colored in yellow, and some interesting prints on the face, more fitting to that of Elves. And can anyone name me the name of this squirrel character? I'm kind of curious, but yeah. And also have this mini catapult piece, which for these little cupcake kind of pieces that are now in gold there, which you can put on that and then fling right off. Quite fun for how that is, but yeah. And now on to the main portion. And now onto the crystal hollow itself, which, as you can see, it may be quite simple, but at least well effective for how it is like. Since, of course, just a whole lot of pretty much heavy with like a few jagged slopes around it and so on. So first of which is the base part of it, which, as you see, a printed tile piece again, and also probably a little picnic-ish area with a green bottle piece and also a rounded tile in which in tan, probably to represent be a plate or something, and then this front part which just make a few wedge plates and also a couple little crystal pieces, which obviously reused from power miners and such few years prior, but one in trans pink and one in trans blue, but with some sparkliness in it, which probably first time we've ever seen that in sets. But however, this piece of which would be quite handy and mocking if you wanted. And also one flat tile piece with the Elves Earth symbol on there and a couple slopes around there, and of course a lot of translucent stuff, kind of fitting to the crystal hollow name of it, that is. And then further upwards have a lot of the like 1x2 bricks in translucent green and lighter translucent green, and also cheese slopes in trans blue, so a lot of translucent stuff here, so great for mocking. And also if you pull on this tile piece from earlier, it makes these two kind of come forward, so, and pull it all the way. And then also do have this little key piece, and of course the earth key. And of course these key pieces did come in other colors throughout the sets for that. And since it's on a few tiles in there, it can like slide forward and backwards and not easy to reset. And on to the upper part of it, which, as you can see, just a few jagged slopes and also those archway bricks again, and also a lime green jumper plate on there. There, obviously to stand the squirrel onto if you wanted. And like we saw with the Creative Workshop set, those leaf pieces in lavender, and also a simple cylinder piece acting as a lantern, and also mini archway pieces or archway bricks above, and curved slopes above, and also another one of those, and a little bit of flowers on this side of it, and larger leaf piece but in purple, which probably the first time used in sets, if not maybe might have been used prior. Well, probably first time in this set. And another gem piece in trans pink there. And then as for the rest of which, from the back side, is mostly just a little ugly rock piece, but in trans blue. Great for mocking if you were to like make a large ice cave mock or whatever. And also a whole 5x1 pillar brick there. Or probably mainly just to hold on to that slope there, but yeah. And that is it with Crystal Hollows. And now on to the verdict. So for my overall verdict, I think these of which are very good sets, or just really good sets for the time, like one of which for 15 and one for 10. So 10 and 15 bucks, quite good for how they are, but also they do work as good parts packs of like trans purple and trans green, and also small cheap ways to get two of the main characters of the line, being Aira and Farran, of course. So even though they made, well, since they did come in a couple other sets afterwards, but however, these are which good cheap ways to get them, like. And of course, the best memorable thing about the Elves line is the hair pieces for the mini dolls for that, which, despite having the Elves ears for that, which kind of workable for how they are, and also do have, but also in these two sets particular, also a couple unique little animal pieces, like with the squirrel and the bird that there is, just with some unique prints to them that are mostly workable in the world of Elves. But yeah. And for the price per piece ratios, still quite good for how they are. And well, but of course, since this is from the mid 2010s, when everything's kind of aligned a bit with or aligned a little bit with the modern day themes or modern day Lego standards, but however, but also may seem almost a bit like Friends sets from the time, but luckily still about as much worthy. But yeah. And also these sets, and again, also good parts packs, and yeah. Well, especially with a lot of dark red with the crystal hollow, and yeah. And now, for any of you that still have these sets from back in the day, well, I hope you had some good memories of them. And for those of you who haven't and are still going to get these sets, I say definitely pick them up. eBay, Bricklink, Ricari, Bricks and Minifigs, whatnot, whatever. And that is it with this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.